Hi, my name is Kayla and I'm reporting from the Healthy Newswork in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. On this video call with me is Dr. David Kessler. He is a professor at the University of California, San Francisco, and a former commissioner of the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Thank you, Dr. Kessler, for taking time today to talk about how we can deal with the coronavirus.
I'm happy to be here.
Will students like me be able to attend school in the fall? Why or why not?
It's a good question, Kayla. A lot of people are thinking about the best way to answer that. And the fact is, we don't know. We're currently in May. School opens for many people end of August or early September. And we're not quite sure of everything that will happen between now and the fall. Chances are, many schools will attempt maybe to open to some extent, but everyone understands that we don't have the answers. There's no sure bets. And even if they try to open under certain circumstances, school's going to look a lot different than it did last year. And if they try to open, they recognize that they may have to close down again, because as much as we've stayed home, we've tried to socially distance, we've been wearing masks, the virus is still out there, and we need to protect everyone, our students, our parents, our teachers.
Okay. If we can go back to school, what will school look like? For instance, I'm headed to high school. Will I be able to walk down the hall to switch classes?
So it depends, right? I mean, obviously you have to, if you're going to switch classes, you have to be able to get to those classes. But we know that certain things are going to be required. We've all learned that the term socially distance. So you're going to have to walk down the hall, but you're going to have to be able to do that and not come in contact with somebody else. Why do you want to become in contact with someone else? When you become in contact, you become too close, the virus can transmit from one person to the next. So you have to keep that social distance. So if you're walking down that hall, you have to keep 6 feet away on all sides from somebody else. Now we all know when classes change, that sometimes the hallways can get very crowded, and that we can't have that. So people have to think through, how can you be safe? How can you maintain that socially distance? I mean, should you stay more in the same classrooms than switch? We have to be able to reduce contacts between one person and the next. So things are going to be different.
Okay. You wrote in a recent article in the New York Times that we should open up the country slowly. What could happen if we open up the country too fast?
Well, if we open the country too fast, we can end up being back where we've been for the last 8 weeks. Think of this as a series of waves, right? And we've been through a wave this spring, but the virus is still there, and hopefully the wave will decrease because of all the good efforts of everyone staying home, of everyone wearing masks and socially distanced. But if we get out and we transmit, I mean, the virus has a chance to transmit from one person to the other because we're too close, or there can be what we call in epidemiology effective contacts. The virus is moving from one person to the next. We can have the next wave. So the question is, when do we have the next wave? How big it is? How often does it occur? Because until we have a vaccine, we're going to see at least small waves, if not big waves, until there's immunity in the population or we have a vaccine.
Thank you. You also wrote that a safe and effective vaccine will allow us to get rid of face masks and other precautions. How long will it be before a vaccine is available?
Boy, that's a great question. I think we're going to have the beginning results even this fall with certain vaccines. There's many vaccines under development, many in the United States, some in Great Britain, some in China, some in other parts of the world. So there are many candidate vaccines, but vaccines are not without risks. And there have been examples where vaccines, regrettably, have sometimes made things worse because of their safety profile. Now we have to come up with a safe vaccine. So I think people are thinking about 12 to 18 months, but that's, no one can guarantee that timetable. But there may be certain vaccines that could be used early on in healthcare workers. So over the next 2 years, expect to see results on vaccines and whether they protect people and they are safe.
If we had medicines to treat COVID-19, would that help open the country more quickly? Why or why not?
Sure. Now, the medicines, there are different types of medicines. There's medicines to treat a disease, but there's also can be medicines you can take to prevent the disease, right? But for now, I think we're talking about medicines to treat a disease. And the fact is, if you know that you can go out and the disease, while you may get ill, it's not going to cause death. It's not going to cause fatalities. It's not going to, we can treat or take the lethality out of the virus. I think people will be much more willing to take risks. If you know something can cause death, you're going to be a lot more cautious than if it's just going to give you some fever and cough.
What can be done to prevent COVID-19 from spreading around the world?
Boy, that's a great question. That is, a key question, because the fact is the health of any country is dependent on the health of another country. And we saw that because this virus, COVID-19, got transmitted. It got carried from one country to the next. It just got on planes with people who were infected and brought it to other countries. So an effective vaccine that is available to the world is obviously the thing that we all hope for.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.